Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Plan Commission this evening. Roll call, please.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Okay. The next thing over the business, the approval of the minutes. Everyone have a copy of those?
Motion to approve as written. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, okay. All right, next thing, this old business is continued from February docket, the Gradison Land Development requesting an amendment to the adopted Spring Creek planned unit develop ordinance. New business, okay? All right, Ben.
All right, good evening, Plan Commission members. This item was one that was on your agenda about 2 years ago initially. The Spring Creek development was reviewed by the Plan Commission in early 2023, was forwarded to the council with a favorable recommendation, was then subsequently adopted by the council. The Spring Creek developer then moved forward with construction plans for the first couple of sections, and we're getting ready to start moving dirt, and we had to proverbially turn the spigot off because the water became an issue and they hadn't received an allocation of water yet. So they've been waiting patiently while we work that out, and that is being worked out. We met with them last week about that. In the meantime, they've been communicating with their residential partner on the residential portion of the development, and they've recognized some changes in the market demand for certain types of residential product type, and I'll certainly let them talk to you a little more detail about that. But in a nutshell, they've discovered that the market is softening for duplex products. And and if you recall, I'll show you this here in a little bit. Area A would have been single family detached, area B was duplexes. So what they like to do is, while the actual product will be of a very similar size, they basically just want to split them apart and do them on their own individual lots and make them detached homes as opposed to attached duplexes. So that's in essence what the changed amendment for you is here tonight. With that, though, we did look at that product type with them because it isn't on a narrower lot. There's a lot more garage that you see on the front, so we wanted to make some changes to architectural standards specific to the Area B homes to try to dress those up and make sure that the garage isn't the focus of the home, and we'll show you some of those here in a second as well. So what's before you tonight is an amendment to the previously adopted Plan Unit Development Ordinance, and what we worked on with them is not just doing a short amendment where the changes would be. What we wanted to do, since our actual overall UDO has been completely rewritten since the time that they adopted this 2 years ago, we wanted them to just essentially recreate the same PUD ordinance and then just add the changes to it. And then we also did change some references in their PUD ordinance so that they reflected the new UDO as well, the new Unified Development Ordinance, particularly for the landscaping and some of those other things. So we just wanted to make sure we were referencing the new ordinance within their PUD document as well. But the reason we did that and made sure that we had the entire text of the PUD ordinances so we didn't have to go back and reference 2 different PUD documents to get the entire standards for the subdivision. So that makes it easier on us on the enforcement side. So that's what was before you here tonight, is that amendment document. And this will essentially replace the PUD ordinance that was adopted back in 2023. So the process for the amendment is exactly the same as it would be for a new PUD ordinance. It comes to the Plan Commission first for a recommendation, which is what we're seeking here tonight, is a recommendation on the amendments. And then those amendments then get forwarded to the Common Council, who will then subsequently adopt the amended PUD ordinance. So first step tonight to look at the amendments and provide a recommendation. Excuse me. So we will go to the screen now. Do a quick overview and reminder. So Spring Creek, again, the acreage is shown outlined here in yellow. This would be 300 north to the south and State Road 39 to the east. And it is the northwest corner. Along the west side is the railroad as well. So they're sandwiched between those 3 transportation arteries. And So that is the overall site. And then let me go to the next page, and this is actually showing you the amended concept plan. So what you see here again is the commercial node that was at the intersection of 39 and 300, and that has stayed exactly the same. What is in this darker red is the townhome portion of the development, and again, while the shape may be a little bit different, it's in essentially the same location as it was previously. The orangish color that kind of wraps around the outside here is what is the Area A, the larger lot single-family detached product. And then the area where we've talked about that has changed is the area in yellow that it runs essentially through the middle of the development, and that is the Area B, which has gone from the duplex product to now a single-family detached product. So you've got Area A, which is the larger lot, single-family detached. Area B in the yellow would be the smaller lot, single-family detached. Red is townhomes, and then the kind of the dark grayish color here at the intersection would be the commercial area. And so, again, the layout of the overall development is essentially the same. Again, the shape where Area B and Area A are located has changed slightly, but really they're in generally the same shape. It kind of went from most dense adjacent to commercial to least dense around the perimeter, and that's essentially what we've got here. On the next page, then I'll show you a comparison of the standards of Area B, how they've changed. And one thing you also will notice is the maximum number of units has changed. By going detached product, there's less space to do the detached product than there would be for the duplexes. So the maximum number of units has gone from 130 in the approved document from 2023 down to 110. And you can see here the lot area has gone from 3,500 square foot per unit. So basically each side of the duplex had 3,500 square feet for the lot. And now we're 4,500 for the detached products. It's got a little bit bigger, essentially to accommodate the additional side yard that you have now. Lot width and front yard setback have stayed the same. Side setback, really the only change is now you don't have a common wall on a duplex where you have a 0-foot setback. You now have 5 feet minimum on both sides of the home. That 5 feet is the minimum, so you will see 10 feet between the houses in here, which would essentially been the same thing in the duplexes. It's just now they're all detached rather than having a duplex where it's attached. Again, going through, you can see everything else has stayed exactly the same. 15-foot rear, 1,400 square foot minimum size. So again, really the only change here is that we're splitting those duplexes apart and making them detached products rather than attached. And then the changes that are needed in order to do that. So again, as I mentioned, we wanted to also look at the architecture of these because when you have a narrower home like that, the garage is much more prominent. And in the UDO, there's a standard. It says that garages, the width of the garage can be no more than 45% of the overall width of the front elevation. And now, as you can see, the garage has become more than 45% because the homes are narrower. And so what we worked on with them is some additional architectural standard to try to address that. And that's what you see reflected in these elevations. These are the proposed elevations for these Area B homes. And you can see the major change here is that rather than having one large 16-foot garage door, we now have two 8-foot single garage doors to break up the 16-foot. And then also you can see that it's got decorative hardware materials and also the windows, again, just to try to break up the prominence of the garage on the front of the home here. The other thing we also did is require at least 50% glass in the front door. You can see this is probably a little bit more like 60 or 70%, but we do require a minimum of 50% glass on that front door. And then just other highlights of the architecture standards, there is, you can see this has a masonry product that goes up to the bottom of the first floor windows. And then they're also required to have 2 different siding materials as well. So you can see here that's reflected here. And they're showing different color types that are potential here. So that's what you see reflected here. This is a small ranch product. Here's one of the other floor plans. Again, you can see how the garage door has changed. This one actually doesn't show the half light, the 50% glass, but it would when it's constructed. So these are just preliminary elevations. Again, masonry, two siding materials. Again, here's a 2-story option here. Showing again the garage doors and the other materials as we've discussed, and just another option for the 2-story here, again showing those same things reflected. So that is what's before you tonight. And make sure I touched on everything Those are the substantive changes. Again, as I mentioned, we changed some of the references throughout the document just so that they referenced the proper sections in the new Unified Development Ordinance. Otherwise, there weren't really any substantive changes to anything in the PUD ordinance. We just wanted to make sure that it was reflective of our new ordinance, so that we're double checking all the appropriate documents when we go to double check standards, as opposed to having to go back and reference in the old UDO. So other than that, those are the primary substantive changes. So again, as I mentioned, this starts as a review by the Plan Commission, who then provides a recommendation. So with that, then staff has recommended that the Plan Commission forward the proposed amendments to the Spring Creek PUD ordinance, which was originally Council Ordinance 2023-05, to the Common Council with a positive recommendation. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I have a question, and I could be mistaken, but I thought when this was presented, 2 years or so ago, that there were some common areas designated within the whole development as well. Am I remembering correctly on that or not?
Yeah, so they've changed shape and location a little bit, but they're still generally there. So they're showing the main common area down here by the entrance, down here on the south end off of 300 North. And then there are a couple of scattered common areas, at least amenity areas, I guess I should say, that you see up here to the north. These dashed lines represent trails connectivity that they'll try to make throughout the neighborhood as well. And obviously everything you see here in green is a common area, but in terms of the amenity areas, those are the three that you see here I've highlighted. And they will provide further detail of those amenity areas when they go through the primary plat stage.
Are these elevations different from the regular single-family homes that were already proposed?
They are. So again, they're a narrower product. So that's the primary difference. So you've got smaller square footage, a little bit narrower because the lots are narrower. But then we've got those added architectural standards that we added to the Area B product as a result of them being smaller and narrower. Essentially, Area A is just larger lots, larger homes.
That's actually what my question was, is that they won't have two separate garages probably for the larger single-family homes, or do they?
They're not required. They're not required to have them. I'll love them to address whether they're intending to do that across both product lines, but it's required on Area B because they're the narrower lot product.
I need to refresh on the minimum front setback, that front yard setback. Is that from the sidewalk to the garage?
Yeah, it's essentially, I mean, the property line is usually either the back of sidewalk or a foot or two behind a sidewalk. So yeah, that's where the 20 feet is from essentially the back of the sidewalk to the garage.
So they'd have 2 car spaces in the garage and technically 2 outside the garage before we get the sidewalk. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question on the same question. The 20 feet with the trucks, not a semi, but a truck pickup and a car, they're way past 20 feet. And they're across the sidewalks. And my question is, why don't we have them move the whole building back 2 feet or 3 feet to make the difference?
Well, I mean, we're obviously relying on somebody parking the car appropriately too. I mean, other than the 4-door larger pickup trucks, they will fit within 20 feet, but that requires them to pull up within a foot of the garage door, and most people don't do that. So, I mean, a pickup truck fits in a 20-foot parking space if they park it correctly. But, so I mean, yes, I understand what you're saying. It could be more, but we've done 20 feet throughout this area. And actually, we've used 20 feet in a number of cases.
What are they out off Whit Road, those villas?
I believe those are 20 feet also. In the newer neighborhoods in Sunbrook villas.
And then I guess the next question would be, what do you do with, do you have any instructions for the homeowners about their garage when you build it to them?
Are you referring to
what they're putting junk in
require them
there?
to park? I mean,
All the junk in their garage instead of their cars?
That would be a covenant
yeah, I mean,
situation.
I don't know of any covenants in any neighborhood that requires people to park cars in the garages, to be honest with you. Once you start getting within the walls of the house, there's often not covenants that restrict that. So
Why
that's
would you have a
Yeah, there are
garage without
covenants,
a
though,
car?
not
then?
allowing cars being parked on the street.
correct.
Yeah.
But telling them that they can't put their stuff in their garage and the car has to be in there, that's typically not directly addressed. But you're right, there usually are restrictions on parking on the street. With the width of these streets, we would only require parking on one side to make sure there's proper width to allow for fire trucks to get through there. They like at least 20 feet. So we'll only allow parking on one side here. But yes, there would be restrictions on parking on the street.
And then I have another question about that. On which side of the street?
I don't know yet. We'll have to decide what's most appropriate. You're gonna have driveways on both sides of their street, so it's probably gonna be 6 or 1/2 dozen, but the city will work with them when they get into the more details of the construction drawings, to decide which side of the street's
I
most
just didn't know if
appropriate.
they was all gonna be on the same side, no matter what. Didn't
Yes,
know?
yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, have them come forward, please.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gradison. I'm here on behalf of Gradison Land Development, as well as the builder we're working with for the development known as Spring Creek, off the intersection of County Road 339. Ben, thank you so much for putting that together. Fairly straightforward change. We're just switching the same width product, going from the attached duplex to the detached 30-foot wide product that the builder has seen success in several other markets. And it's not to say that the market has fully softened across the board on just duplexes. I think their specific product, they are not confident in today, and know and are very confident in the performance of the new product that we are proposing to you today. We've worked close with Ben over the last few months trying to refine this product, make sure it's fitting for the city of Lebanon, and making sure that it's going to please the residents as well as all of the staff. So we've worked to get the 2 singular car garages, the half-light glass in the front door, as well as just some of the color tweaks and making sure it all looks presentable. As far as Mr. Campbell, you asked about if we are planning on having the 2 singular car garages on the other or detached single-family product. Right now, it's not in the plans as it's not required. However, I wouldn't be surprised if they see success in it in the 30-foot wide product and change a little bit once they get going and selling. Outside of that, there's really not too much to explain further. Just it's a fairly straightforward change. We're really not changing too many of the plans that we've already put together. Just it'll be some slight changes around the laterals that tie into each home and everything of that nature. One thing I do need to call out about Ben's presentation is that he mentioned that we are going to a maximum of 110 units. It's actually staying the exact same at the 118 units that it was approved with. The original planned unit development agreement had a maximum of 130 units. We went in with our plans showing 118 2 years ago, and that's what it's staying as today. So there are really, really minor, minimal changes here in these plans and on this concept plan. So with that, I will answer any questions you guys might have. Thank you so much.
Do you have anything else? I'm sorry. Okay, we'll open up the public hearing. Anyone come forward, please? Not seeing any, being rushed here, so we'll call this closed. Ben?
Yeah, just what Brian said about the number of units. I'm going to just zoom in real quick. Sounds like there may be some discrepancies that need to be cleared up. Yeah, so on this layout, they're showing 173 in Area A and 118 in Area B. The document actually they sent me, the PUD ordinance document, still said 170 and 110. That's what Adam sent me. So given the fact that they're showing, and this layout is newer than the document they sent me, what I would suggest, and I'm pulling up the final draft of the the draft of the PUD ordinance being considered, and just suggest that we would want to take a motion first to make a change. If they want to pull the screen up, I'll show you where. So here in section 6, under the general regulations, Area A says 170. I would recommend that we amend that to 173. And in Area B right now, it says 110, and I'd recommend that we change that to 118. So I would suggest that the Plan Commission would make a motion to make those amendments first, and then a second motion on the recommendation to forward to the council.
They'll be able to fit in there, right? It's not gonna
Yeah, I mean,
make anything smaller. It's gonna.
no, it'll have to fit, so that you can see that they still have lot width and lot size requirements. So we could put 200,000 as the total number of units. If they can't meet those other requirements, they just wouldn't be able to go in
Okay.
there. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend, is we start first with a motion to amend this document from 170 to 173 units in Area A, and from 110 to 118 in Area B.
That's section 6.1.
That's in section 6.1 and 6.2.
Okay,
Area 6.1,
So it would be in section,
6.1, 170 to 173.
correct.
Okay, I'll make that motion, and for area 6.2 from 110 to 118.
Yes. So you got in 6.1, it would go from 170 to 173, and in 6.2, it would go from 110 to 118. And that's the motion.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, and we have a second. Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Yes.
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 Okay, motion passed. Okay,
Okay, so now we will need a motion then on a recommendation for the amended PUD document, the amendment to the amendment.
need a motion.
And that would be a motion for a recommendation to forward to the council.
I'll make a motion to forward the proposed amendments to the Spring Creek PUD ordinance to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Call the roll, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
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 Motion approved. Okay. Anything else, Ben?
Maybe just so it's stated on the record, we did have a new business item. It would be the 2025 update to the City of Lebanon Comprehensive Plan. We did send out notices to the paper, so I just wanted to identify in the meeting that this is being continued to the April 21st meeting. We were about at the 5-yard line, and I just didn't feel comfortable rushing it to get it here tonight, so we're gonna just go ahead and continue that to the next meeting, so we've got that document fully buttoned up for you.
Any other business?
That's all I have.
That's everything. Any other business from? Okay. All right. I take a motion for adjournment. We have a motion to adjourn. And a second. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We are now adjourned. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Get to go to bed.